Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Okay, we're diving straight in today to challenge something you probably think is an absolute, undeniable fact about the physical world. I mean, have you ever touched an object and just known instinctively, without a shadow of a doubt, that it was freezing cold or burning hot? Well, what if I told you your brain is actively deceiving you? Today, we're going to unpack the fascinating mechanics behind thermal conductivity, and we're going to explore what I like to call the illusion of cold. Let's get right to it.
So picture this. Imagine you're standing right there in your kitchen. On the counter, there's a standard metal spoon, and right next to it, a wooden spoon. Both of them have been sitting in the exact same room, totally undisturbed for hours. Now imagine walking up and grabbing both of those spoons, one in each hand. Which one feels colder to the touch? Really think about it. Your brain, your gut instinct, and your physical sense of touch are almost certainly going to scream that the metal spoon is colder. It's a feeling we've all experienced literally countless times, right?
But here's where the cognitive dissonance hits you. They are the exact same temperature. Seriously, if we were to grab a highly accurate scientific thermometer and measure both of those spoons, it would prove, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that they're sitting at the exact same room temperature. Your hand is absolutely convinced the metal is freezing, but the objective scientific data tells a completely different story. I mean, the metal isn't magically dropping below room temperature all on its own, so why are our senses lying to us so convincingly?
Well, the answer lies in a really cool fundamental principle of physics known as thermal conductivity. Basically, this is a material's inherent ability to transfer or conduct heat. You can kind of think of it as a material's internal speed limit for moving thermal energy from one place to another. Every single material in the universe, from the air around us to the glass in your windows, has its own unique thermal conductivity rating. And it's this invisible physical mechanism that completely solves the mystery of our kitchen spoons.
And this brings us to one of the wildest secrets of human biology. You ready? Your body isn't actually a thermometer. Actually, scratch that. Your skin is basically completely incapable of sensing an object's true, objective temperature. Instead, what your skin is really measuring is the rate of heat loss from your own body. So when you touch something, you aren't feeling its actual temperature at all. You're feeling the exact speed at which your own body heat is draining away from your hand and transferring into that object.
And that is exactly what's happening with our spoons. Because metal has an incredibly high thermal conductivity, it acts like a multi-lane superhighway for thermal energy. The split second your warm hand touches it, the metal rapidly pulls the heat right out of your skin. That sudden, rapid evacuation of heat triggers the receptors in your hand to fire off a frantic signal to your brain, which translates that loss of heat into a sharp sensation of cold. Wood, on the other hand, it's a notoriously poor conductor. It acts more like a bumpy single-lane dirt road for heat. The thermal energy from your hand moves into the wood so slowly that your brain barely registers a temperature drop at all.
And you know, this exact same illusion tricks our senses constantly in everyday life. Imagine walking through a park in the dead of winter. There's a metal bench and a wooden bench, both sitting out in the freezing snow all night. If you sit on the wooden bench, I mean, it's uncomfortable, sure. But if you sit on the metal bench, it feels like the cold is literally piercing right through your winter coat. Or think about cooking on the stove in a warm kitchen. Grabbing a wooden pan handle feels perfectly safe, but grabbing a solid metal handle on that exact same pan can burn you instantly. The actual temperature of the environment isn't changing. The speed of the heat delivery is.
When we actually map this whole thing out, the relationship between a material's conductive properties and your physical sensation becomes just crystal clear. That metal bench feels intensely cold for one reason. The heat transfer speed away from your body is incredibly fast. The wooden bench is only mildly cold because that speed is super slow. And that exact same logic perfectly explains the hot pan handle. Metal delivers heat into your hand fast, making it feel intensely hot, while wood acts as an insulator, slowing that heat transfer right down to a mild, manageable speed. At the end of the day, it all comes down to how fast energy is allowed to move.
We actually owe our foundational understanding of all this to a scientist named Joseph Fourier. Way before we had modern thermal sensors or infrared cameras, Fourier was doing the really complex mathematical heavy lifting to figure out exactly how heat moves through solid materials. Fun fact, he actually became somewhat obsessed with heat in his later years. He famously kept his rooms uncomfortably hot and walked around completely swathed in blankets because he firmly believed that maintaining high body heat was the ultimate secret to good health. But personal quirks aside, his historical research completely unlocked the equations that explain the very phenomena we're talking about today.
I want to slow down for just a second here, because truly grasping this requires a massive paradigm shift in how we view the physical world. I mean, we are so conditioned from childhood to think of cold as this invading force, right? Like a winter chill seeping into our bones, or frost actively attacking our skin. But from a pure physics standpoint, cold doesn't even exist as an active, tangible thing.
Cold is simply the absence of heat. When you feel a sharp chill, it isn't cold attacking you. It is quite literally the invisible flow of your own body heat escaping out into the environment.
Ultimately, it leaves us with this incredibly profound thought. Sometimes, what you feel is not temperature itself, but simply the speed of energy moving away from you. I want you to really let that resonate for a moment. Your entire perception of physical reality is filtered entirely through the specific quirks of your biology. So, the next time you grab a freezing metal doorknob or step barefoot onto a cold tile floor on a winter morning, I want you to remember what we explored today. You aren't feeling the cold. You are feeling your own warmth rushing away. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and the next time you touch something, ask yourself, what is it that I'm really feeling?